Hi, this is Ron Nutter with another edition of Tech Bites with Ron Nutter. Now, in an earlier video, we talked about the Sonoff Basic, and this is the Sonoff RF. It's a little different. We'll cover that one in a future video, but there were several things I found during the setup process that I kind of wanted to go over with everybody and save you a little bit of hassle. And thank you so much for bearing with me on that first video where I had the cell phone image, because I thought the camera would handle it better than it did, and I was wrong, but I think I found a way that I think you'll have a lot easier time in seeing the image. So let's switch over to the link coming out of the camera. And when you go into the Sonos app, or actually eWeLink or eWeLink, I'm not sure quite how to pronounce it, this is what you'll see. Now I have just the one Sonos device set up right now. So when you go to toggle it on and off, it's just a simple tap like that. You'll see the color change when it goes on and then back off. And if you click it too many times, then you should see a message down at the bottom of the screen. We'll have to cycle it here. Do it quick enough, which is entirely possible that you might have that happen. Be a little message rather. There you go. Do not frequently repeat the operation, because the relay that's in here is not a industrial grade heavy duty relay. So you do it quickly enough and you probably will get the relay to basically just quit working at some point. Now, if you're on a version of firmware prior to 1.6, there is a vibration mode that's turned on by default. It seems in 1.6 they did away with it. So to turn off the vibration mode, you'll just tap on the name, and let me go back here. You tap on this right here. So tap on the name, and then what you're looking for is these three little dots up here in the corner. And you'll see setting, delete, and history. So we'll tap on setting and see there's not, if you had an option turning the vibration, you would have it showing up in here, and it does not. Now, while we're at this screen, this is another part to be aware of. Now, there's two schools of thought. Whenever I'm working with something, I like to make sure I'm on a reasonably current version of firmware. Now, I've heard from some people that if you go up to 1.6, then you can't use some of the third-party firmwares. At this point, I'm sticking with just the Sonoff firmware, because I want to get to learn this device first before we get too creative. So if there is a newer version of firmware, over here where it says latest version, that's where we have the option of tapping on that, and that will upgrade. Because if we go to do it now, and I'm tapping on it, of course, unfortunately, you can't see me tapping on it, it's not going to do anything because it already realizes it's at the current version. Now, if you want to change the name, this is where you'll tap on that little pencil, and then you can go in here. I just tapped in that field right there, and you can change it to anything you want. We'll just call it Basic 1, just to change the name. It saves that, and you're good to go. Now, you will create a login on the in the app, which goes out to, I would assume, some sort of back-end website. As with any of the links, when you've got something like this, use a password manager. That's another big thing. So that's very important, because when we start tying these in to other devices, and we're going to show I've got 2 more videos planned where we're going to show how to tie this into the Amazon Alexa and Google Home, you're going to have to share credentials. So just in case something happens, and just in case is a good example of, well, Experian. They're kind of the whipping person of the week. They need to have better security. So for things like the eWeLink, have a separate username and password for the app to get in. Have a separate username and password for the Amazon Alexa. Have a separate username and password for the Google Home, because look at it this way. Would you rather spend a little more time now putting some basic protections in place than having to clean up something later on? Because it could be something as simple as somebody's playing with your lights remotely On the other hand, depending on the integrations and how they tie in, they might get access to some information. So I'm not trying to scare anybody, but just take some reasonable precautions. And there's some good password managers out there. MSecure, LastPass. You know, look at all of them. And if you're interested, I'm more than happy to do several videos on the different ones that are out there. I personally use MSecure, but that's the one that I started with because at the time I looked at them, it was one of the few that was multi-platform. And when I say multi-platform, I'm talking Windows, Mac, Android, iPhone. So I can have the app across all my devices, and I use a separate password to get it that I do not use for anything else. And all the devices sync against each other. I've got them set up to not migrate, but copy their files up to a secured server that I've got. So that way, no matter what device I've got, as soon as I get into it and it has an internet connection, it immediately checks to make sure it's got the latest file. So you don't have to worry about entering in the username and passwords on every device you've got or having to copy the data file. I've done that before. You don't want to do it. But anyway, we'll go on. So let's go back into the iPhone. And now for the history, you know, anytime it's been turned on and off, then you can see what's going on there. So if there's any question when it's turned on and off, you've got that. There are timers that you can put in. I've not set that up yet. So you see there's quite a bit of things that you can do with this. It's you know, a very feature-rich system for being as simple as it is. So there's a whole host of things there to look at. Now, you know, we've talked about turning off the vibration. If you're at 1.6, of course, you know, that's not going to be an issue because as you saw from looking at the screen, it's not there. Make sure the latest firmware is installed. I'm not aware of any bugs in the version of the one that initially came on the first Sonoff I set up. It was at 1.55 or 1.5, something like that. Didn't have any problems, but I just wanted to make sure that I had the right features and if there was any issues that they were addressed. Now, something that you'll want to do too is to document the device. And I got bit by that tonight myself when I went through and tried to get in, and I hadn't written down the username and password, so I had to go through and do a reset. But what did I do immediately after that? Immediately documented the username and password, so that's not an issue. There are a host of surge protectors you might want to look at. And I'm going to move the camera off over here just so you can see the one I'm using. Now this is I believe it says over here, it's one of the Monster power bars. There are several good ones out there. Trip Light makes a good one. APC, the main thing is get one, because especially when there's an electrical storm in the area, would you rather spend a few dollars protecting not so much this, but protecting the devices that are plugged into this? And that way it prevents this from taking damage and the other devices. Something that I'm trying to get some response back. I've reached out to both APC and Trip Light. Haven't heard back from them yet, so I'm hoping that they will help out with some information that I'm wanting to make sure is going to be reasonably, you know, what will help everybody the most. Is the surge protectors don't last forever. Now they have most of your better ones will have some sort of light. APC's been known for years on having one that had two lights, the power light and then a warning light. And one time I've had that warning light go off. I plugged in an oscilloscope that I happen to have, and I found 60 volts AC sitting on the ground wire. I called APC because I wanted to make sure I wasn't misreading it, and they said, you've got a bad electrical problem. You need to get an electrician out there so you can continue to use the device, but if anything gets damaged with that amount of current sitting on the ground wire, you're not going to have any warranty. just mentioned an interesting word there, and this is something to think about on all these devices, is that when you are using a surge protector, some will offer you a $15,000 insurance package. Others will offer, say, $20,000, $25,000. The better the guarantee on it, of course, reflects somewhat of the unit, and then you're paying for that. Let's face it, folks. Let's call it for what it is. You're going to be covering some of that with the purchase price. And that's another good reason, as you're acquiring all this, make sure that you have good records, that you've got the receipts for everything. Now, if you're getting this off Amazon, great. There are links in the show notes for this that you will see where I link to getting both the Sonoff and the electrical cord. And I had another one. I guess I didn't bring it in here with me. But I've also got a link to a surge protector. That is a good thing to have. Now, there's several schools of thought with how long they last. Theoretically, and I use that word loosely, the device should be replaced when the protection light is off. I'm not so sure I want to wait that long, because the devices have the potential of degrading over time, because as they get continually hit with power surges, they're going to start getting less and less able to handle that kind of surge and protect things. So I've heard different ranges between 2 years and 3 years when they should be replaced. The last surge strips I bought were like $9 a piece. Okay, if you get a couple of years out of them, then they can be rotated out to something else that maybe doesn't need surge protection, but your critical things, especially for your smart home devices, let's give them a little bit of TLC. This is all going to be in the book that I'm working on. I'm hopefully in the next 2 to 3 months we'll have some more of this available. I've not been getting the graphics up the way I should tonight, so I'll be doing most of these videos on YouTube. If you see them on Facebook or other social media channels, here at YouTube is going to be the home base for everything, because there's so much potential. At the time I'm doing this video, Amazon has just come out with the announcement that they've acquired Ring. Heaven only knows what the integration potential there stands. I had reached out to Ring trying to have them involved in this book and in this project. They declined at the time. Hopefully they will reconsider that, but I suspect that was because of what potential was coming down the pike with being acquired by Amazon. So they were just trying to not have too much emotion at one point, and I respect that. But as I said, this is all going to be in the book. These videos are all going to be linked to from the book, and there will be some extra content that probably won't be able to get into the book when I release these. This is all just, a lot of things that can be looked at. And the nice thing, especially with these Sonoff devices, I mean, they did supply these to me, I will tell you that up front, but I also told them if I didn't like what I saw, that we were done at that point, because I'm not going to waste your time if a product's not going to cut it. Because if you don't see it on here, it means one of two things. Either I didn't get it, or there was something I didn't like, because I'm not going to suggest something that I'm not using myself. You take one step at a time. Please go through the other videos that I'm doing here. You will see I'm going to probably try to do about 1 to 2 a week. Maybe I'll get to 3. But I'm just wanting to go through and look at things, because I started doing the video initially tonight, and the features had changed in the Sonoff software, so I got caught off guard. So I had to restart, because when I went through it, I didn't catch that there was a change. But anyway, thank you for your time. If you have anything you would like to see me cover, please put it in the comments below, because I want this to be a win-win for everybody. And if you do buy something with the links, I really appreciate that. That's going to help me with the ongoing costs of producing the videos and buying a lot of the items, because a lot of them I don't get for free or at a discount. And if you would, please subscribe to this channel, or if you're following on Facebook, if you would click the follow button, because that just lets me know that you like the content you're seeing. If there's any questions, please reach out to me, because one of the great potentials this technology has is being used as a service project for if you're in some sort of nonprofit group or charitable organization, such as the Kiwanis or the Masonic Lodge. This is something that's very affordable to do, and you can really help some people and not have to spend a lot of money. So thank you very much for your time. We'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.